Welcome back to the Humus Heritage family. I'm about to share something that will completely change how you look at your kitchen scraps. The next time you peel a potato, chop an onion, or trim the base off that romaine lettuce, I want you to pause and consider this. You might be throwing away a future harvest. Today we're diving deep into the surprisingly magical world of supermarket scrap gardening, where your kitchen waste becomes tomorrow's fresh produce. What I'm about to show you isn't just about saving money or reducing waste, though you'll accomplish both. This is about reconnecting with the incredible life force that exists in every piece of produce you bring home from the store. It's about discovering that the waste you've been discarding actually contains the blueprint for endless abundance. Let's start with a simple truth that most people don't realize. Many of the vegetables you buy at the supermarket are still very much alive, just waiting for the right conditions to spring back into growth. When you slice off the bottom of green onions or trim the base of celery, you're not creating waste, you're creating opportunities. The beauty of scrap gardening lies in its accessibility. You don't need special equipment, expensive seeds, or even outdoor space. All you need is a shallow dish, some water, and the scraps you would normally toss in the compost bin or trash. This method works because most vegetables retain their root systems or growing points even after harvest, storage, and transport. Setting up your first scrap garden experiment couldn't be simpler. Gather some small bowls or shallow containers, fill them with about an inch of clean water, and start collecting the right kinds of scraps. The key is choosing pieces that still have their growing points intact, which I'll walk you through in detail. Let's begin with the absolute superstars of scrap gardening, starting with green onions or scallions. When you purchase a bunch of green onions, you're essentially buying a renewable resource. After using the green tops, save the white bulb portion with the roots still attached. Place these root end down in a shallow dish with just enough water to cover the roots, and within 24 to 48 hours, you'll see new green growth emerging from the center. The magic doesn't stop there. These regrown green onions will continue producing fresh shoots for weeks, and if you eventually transplant them to soil, they can become a permanent part of your kitchen garden. I've had the same green onion plants producing for over 6 months, providing a constant supply of fresh, flavorful greens for my cooking. Romaine lettuce offers another incredibly satisfying scrap growing experience. Instead of discarding that bottom inch of the romaine heart, place it cut side up in a shallow dish with about half an inch of water. Position it in a location with bright indirect light and change the water every 2 days. Within a week you'll notice tiny new leaves beginning to emerge from the center of the heart. While romaine won't regrow into a full-sized head, it will produce enough fresh tender leaves for several salads. The key to success with romaine is maintaining clean water and providing consistent light without direct sun, which can cause the leaves to become bitter. Celery presents one of the most dramatic transformations in scrap gardening. Save the bottom 2 inches of your celery bunch, the part that includes the root base, and place it cut side up in a shallow bowl with water covering just the bottom. Within days you'll see new growth emerging from the center, and the outer stalks will begin to straighten and strengthen. The regrown celery won't match the size of store-bought celery immediately, but the flavor is often more intense, and the satisfaction of harvesting your own is incomparable. After about 2 weeks of water propagation, you can transplant your celery to soil where it will continue developing into a full plant. Once you've mastered the basics, it's time to explore the more challenging but incredibly rewarding world of advanced scrap cultivation. The transition from water propagation to soil is a critical step that determines long-term success. The most common mistake gardeners make is rushing this process or shocking the plants with dramatic environmental changes. When your scraps have developed strong root systems in water, usually after 2 to 3 weeks, gradually introduce them to potting soil. Start by mixing water with a high-quality potting mix to create a muddy consistency, then gradually reduce the water content over several days. Indoor lighting becomes crucial at this stage. While many scraps will sprout in ambient indoor light, sustained growth requires more substantial light sources. Position your transplanted scraps near a south-facing window or invest in a simple grow light. LED grow lights have become incredibly affordable and energy efficient, making year-round indoor growing accessible to everyone. Ginger represents the crown jewel of advanced scrap gardening. Those knobby pieces of fresh ginger root you buy at the store are actually rhizomes, underground stems that can produce both roots and shoots. Look for ginger pieces with visible growth buds, small bumps or eyes on the surface. Plant these pieces in well-draining potting soil with the growth buds facing up, barely covering them with soil. Ginger requires patience, often taking 4 to 6 weeks to show any signs of growth, but the payoff is extraordinary. The shoots that emerge will grow into beautiful, tropical-looking plants that can eventually produce your own fresh ginger harvest. In warm climates, ginger can be grown outdoors, but it thrives as a houseplant in cooler regions. Pineapple tops offer another spectacular long-term project. After enjoying a fresh pineapple, carefully twist off the leafy crown, remove the lower leaves to expose about an inch of stem, and let it dry for a day or two. Then place it in water until roots develop, followed by transplanting to soil. While it takes 2 to 3 years to produce fruit, the journey of growing your own pineapple plant from kitchen scraps is incredibly rewarding. The moment you harvest your first meal from plants grown entirely from kitchen scraps represents more than just fresh food. It's a connection to the natural cycle of growth and renewal that we've lost touch with in our modern food system. When I harvest green onions that I've been growing for months or snip fresh celery leaves for my morning juice, I'm reminded of the incredible abundance that surrounds us when we learn to see it. The financial benefits become apparent quickly. A single purchase of green onions can provide months of fresh greens. Celery, romaine, and other vegetables continue producing long after their initial cost has been recouped many times over. But beyond the monetary savings, scrap gardening reduces food waste in a meaningful way, transforming what would have been garbage into productive living systems. Perhaps most importantly, scrap gardening reconnects us with our food sources. In a world where produce travels thousands of miles and sits in storage for weeks or months, growing food from scraps brings us back to the immediacy and vitality of fresh, living food. Children especially benefit from witnessing this transformation, developing an understanding of where food comes from and how plants grow. The environmental impact extends beyond reducing waste. Every scrap you regrow is produce you don't need to purchase, reducing demand for industrial agriculture, packaging, and transportation. It's a small but meaningful contribution to a more sustainable food system. As your confidence and success with scrap gardening grows, you'll find yourself looking at every piece of produce with new eyes. That bunch of basil with stems still attached becomes an opportunity for propagation. Those sprouted potatoes in your pantry transform from a disappointment into planting material. Even herbs past their prime can often be revived or used to grow new plants. The key to long-term success is starting small and building gradually. Begin with 1 or 2 types of scraps, master the techniques, and then expand your repertoire. Keep detailed notes about what works and what doesn't in your specific environment. Every kitchen, every climate, and every growing situation is unique, and discovering what thrives in your space is part of the adventure. Document your journey with photos and notes. The transformation from kitchen scrap to thriving plant is remarkable, and you'll want to remember the details of your successes to replicate them. Share your discoveries with friends and family, and don't be surprised when they become as excited as you are about the possibilities hidden in their kitchen waste. Your journey into scrap gardening is just beginning, and I can't wait to see where it takes you. Start today with just 1 scrap, 1 small dish of water, and 1 leap of faith in the incredible power of plants to regenerate and provide abundance. If this guide has inspired you to see your kitchen scraps in a new light, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our latest gardening adventures here at the Humus Heritage. Share this video with anyone who might benefit from discovering the hidden garden in their kitchen waste, and drop a comment below showing us your first scrap gardening success. Together, we're growing more than plants. We're cultivating a more sustainable, abundant future, 1 scrap at a time.